Have you ever thought of making your own email newsletter? Well, you're in luck. My name is Mark and I'm here to show you how simple it is to start your own with AWS Simple Email Service. AWS SES is a very simple and fast emailing service. It lets you send emails to your clients in bulk and even lets you add attachments and a customized HTML body in your emails. What's even better is that you only pay for what you use. This means that there are no upfront costs for using SES, making it very cost efficient. If you're still unsure, you can try it out because they have a free tier where you can be charged 3,000 inbound and outbound messages per month completely free for the first 12 months. The very first encounter I had with AWS services was way back when I volunteered for the AWS User Group Community Day Philippines. I was a volunteer, and I was fortunate enough to enter the development team for our photo booth application. I was part of the backend team, and there I learned about a lot of services like S3, DynamoDB, and SES to name a few. A few months later, we established the AWS Cloud Club PUP Manila, and I had the idea to create an email sender app. Up to this day, our Relations and Communications Office uses the app that I developed to send emails to our members. Going back to the first question, how do you start your own email newsletter with AWS SES? First, you must of course have your own AWS account. Create an IAM user and connect your access keys to your local AWS CLI. Next, we must verify our sending identities. These identities will be the email addresses that we'll be using for sending our emails. For less hassle, you can also register a domain name and all email addresses with that domain name will be verified automatically. But that's a bit more complicated. For this one, we'll stick with verifying an individual email address. First, simply go to AWS console and search SES. Click Amazon Symbols email service, and from the sidebar you'll see the verified identities. You can click that. Next, you can click the Create Identity button. From the identity type box, you must select email address. Input the email address that you'll be using. Take note that you must have access to the inbox of this email to open the verification email. Lastly, create identity to finish the step. Now, we'll open up VS Code to write an email newsletter that sends a good morning message to all our subscribers daily. First, we must create a connection by importing Boto3 and using the following code. Our client will be connected to SES directly. Now we can use functions to control our SES. Next, we will input our settings. This is optional and completely up to you, but I have my variables and email addresses set up in my settings.py. Next, we must create a function. We will name this sendEmail. Then we will use the client.sendEmail function. This is a built-in function by Boto3 to control our SES and send an email. We can also get a return data from this one and assign it to a response variable. Next, we will input our source. This will be the email address that we'll be using to send the email. Next, we have our destinations. We can input here our two addresses, which is our main recipient, and our CC addresses and BCC addresses. Next, we have the message, which contains two parts, the subject and the body. For the subject, it's this simple. We have our subject, which is "Here's your daily greeting." For our body, it can be either to the form of plain text or HTML, which we will now use. And as you can see, our HTML code is enclosed in quotation marks, which means it is a string. Next, we must supply an email address for the reply to addresses. Actually, this part is optional and it only needs to be input if you want to receive some replies to your emails. Lastly, we must print a response. And now we can call our email. And congrats! You have your own very simple email newsletter. And it's actually that simple. Thank you and goodbye.